Am I the a-hole for not paying any more towards our daughter's wedding after she cut pieces off her mother's wedding dress for her own? Original post. My wife made her wedding dress with her mother. It's very sentimental to her and she was very proud of it. It was simple but freaking gorgeous. She has always said she would love for our kids to wear her dress at their wedding. We had 3 daughters, 34, 30, 25, and 1 son, 28. My wife made it known that the dress was not to be altered, except to be taken in/let out so it could be kept and reworn. Our youngest daughter didn't wear it. Our daughter-in-law wore it for their reception and our son held it up against him for some pre-wedding bridal pictures so he wasn't left out. He totally rocked it. Oldest daughter wore it for her wedding. We've offered some financial contributions to all our children towards either school, a wedding, or a house down payment. Our daughter Olivia has asked for help paying for her wedding. The wedding is in the beginning of August. A few months ago, Olivia asked my wife if she could use the dress for her wedding and my wife gave her the dress so Olivia could get it fitted with plenty of time. Tuesday, Olivia asked me to go with her to pay some vendors. One of the stops was the tailor shop for a final fitting and pay the seamstress. Olivia was really nervous, and I figured it was just usual pre-wedding jitters and excitement. The dress Olivia came out in was not at all her mother's dress. It was a completely different dress with parts of her mother's gown added to it. She took the straps, the sash, the train, and the embroidered top skirt and had it added to this new dress. I was befuddled for a bit and then asked what the heck this was. Olivia's reasoning was that she was the last of our kids to get married, and there wasn't anyone else to wear it, and she made sure to instruct they keep the original dress to be returned to her. I told her that's not the same. She knows it, and the dress was never hers to do with what she wanted. I asked the seamstress for the rest of my wife's dress, and had Olivia tell my wife in person what she had done. My wife was devastated. I have since canceled the payments I made that day and told her I won't be paying another cent to her wedding. She and her fiancé can figure it out. Our youngest daughter thinks I've gone overboard, knowing Olivia planned her wedding with our help in mind, and without it she can't finish paying for everything. Olivia's future in-laws also agreed with that. They can't afford to help and suggested I should pay, and then we just go low contact with Olivia. I've told them both that Olivia took something irreplaceable from her mother for her own vanity. I know we originally offered to help with the wedding, but I think Olivia's actions warrant canceling that offer. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Not the a-hole. That was hugely disrespectful to your wife. The dress didn't even belong to your daughter. If they can't afford a big wedding without your help, then they can downsize the wedding. Exactly. It doesn't matter that your daughter is the last one to use the dress. It doesn't give her the right to destroy/alter it. She should have discussed it with your wife first, and then abide by whatever decision your wife made. She arbitrarily made a decision to ruin the dress. Not stay home. She might not even have been the last. What if there was a granddaughter that was especially close to her? Or she and Opie wanted to renew their vows and she used the dress? Opie is in no way not an a-hole here. Or God forbid she wanted to be buried in it, and her daughter just figuratively shat all over it. The daughter ruined something her mother cherished because she wanted a better wedding dress. And why the heck didn't she ask? It's because the answer would have been no, and she's damn well aware of that. Don't be an Olivia. Not stay home. She tried the old ask forgiveness not permission for a reason. This is clear by her being really nervous to show you the dress. I'd imagine she also showed you first so she could try to soften the blow to your wife. This was premeditated, which makes her an a-hole. Due to her not respecting you or your wife with her choice, I don't think you're in the wrong for pulling your support from the wedding. Tell her she already has your entire contribution in fabric. Not even an ounce of me thinks this wasn't calculated. The dress may be salvageable, but it won't be the same. It won't be OP's wife's dress and the daughter just doesn't seem to care. She ruined something irreplaceable. She took what she thought was a calculated risk, but man, she's bad at math. Obviously not the a-hole, but the gall of the in-laws. They didn't butt in to be peacemakers for their soon-to-be daughter-in-law. I could appreciate that. No, they just wanted your money and openly admitted by suggesting low contact after. Olivia a-hole, in-laws a-holes, youngest probably just trying to help. You and your wife not the a-holes. Emotionally, it isn't the same, I know. But if you have all the pieces, a good seamstress can probably resemble it to look original. I got the original dress back, but not all of the pieces. Not without having Olivia take her dress apart. Best we could do is give a picture of what the dress used to look like and highlight the missing pieces to be remade. Now for the first update. Thank you everyone for the responses. My wife and I will look at more of them tomorrow and discuss the subject further. Just want to address a misconception. We have not gone low or no contact with Olivia. Her in-law suggested it, and that is insane. My wife's initial reaction to finding out Tuesday was not to go to the wedding. That was said in anger and not a done deal. It would probably depend a lot on Olivia's handling until then as well. Taking her dress she paid for would hurt our relationship with her, just as much as not paying for anything else. Which is why we are discussing our options and skimming comments for things we have not thought of and are doable. Now for the second update. My wife and I are reading as many comments as we can. She appreciates the concern and support. For those saying the dress wouldn't be worn again anyway, she has this to say. It's not about whether or not it would be worn again. If none of my children asked to wear it, I would still keep the dress for me. My mother taught me everything I know about sewing. We spent months picking out fabrics and doing trial and error on practice dresses as we made mine. It was mine. It was my one prized possession that held incredible memories for me. I've thought of having it put in my casket with me because once I'm gone, the person it mattered to is gone. However, I would have worn it again. Our 40th anniversary is in a couple years and I was very much looking forward to recreating our photos. It may seem like I'm choosing my dress over my daughter. I'm not. It is her deceit, indifference, and her blatant lack of remorse that I am hurt most by, and having a hard time with. It is the underhanded ways she thought to address the issue. It is the fact she will not apologize and have a conversation with me, but is only worried about the rest of her wedding items being paid for, and pinning it until after her honeymoon. I did not raise her to be like that. I would have loved to help her make designs for the dress she picked out if she had asked, and she knows this. I have never denied her help in her life, nor has our help come with conditions. Today we'll take my wife's dress to the seamstress that has the Franken dress to see what can be repaired. My wife has said the sash and train are most likely lost as the fabric of the gown was cut and the seams undone properly. Paraphrasing here, not up to sewing lingo. Unfortunately, even if it can be restored or parts of it, Olivia is currently not wanting to give up the dress after the wedding. She wants to keep hers and is imploring her mother to understand since she kept her wedding dress for so long. We don't want to lose our relationship with our daughter, but we both agreed there need to be consequences, and there isn't really any moving forward if Olivia isn't willing to budge on anything. Next story. Am I the a-hole for calling off my son's camping trip after he ruined a painting that I drew for my wife? I, male 39, married my wife, female 36, 4 months ago. I have a son named Elijah, age 16. He and my wife have this tension between them that started right after she moved in with us. He complains about how she enters his room all the time and invading his privacy and touching his stuff, but my wife says she's just cleaning it for him. He also complains from being forced to eat what she cooks, but my wife says she's just trying to get him to step away from unhealthy fast food and snacks, and get used to healthy homemade meals. The fighting became constant even before the wedding. Then at the wedding, he complained about being excluded from pictures and food he wanted to have, but my wife said she had nothing to do with it, and that Elijah was looking for something to hold over her head. Now, since we're on summer break and he has plenty of free time, I signed him up for a 2-week camping trip and paid for everything. He was supposed to go next week, but a couple of days ago something happened. It was my wife's birthday. As a gift, I drew a painting for her and gave it to her during dinner. Elijah started laughing for no reason, which made my wife annoyed. She told him he wasn't allowed to watch a movie later that night and sent him to his room. He wasn't happy with us, and he threw a temper tantrum and said he didn't do anything to deserve a punishment. Then in the morning, my wife woke me up yelling, saying the painting I gave her was destroyed with car oil. She kept saying Elijah did it. So I went to his room, and he admitted that he ruined it to get back at her for punishing him the night before. I lost my temper with him, then punished him by canceling his trip and taking the money back. He threw another tantrum saying he had to do that after she punished him for no reason, and that it wasn't fair since I promised. But I said it was final. He started crying and called his aunt as a way to pressure me into backing out of my decision, but I refused. Now for the top comments. You're the a-hole. Your son has been telling you for years that your wife is overstepping, being intrusive, violating his privacy, and making him feel excluded from the family. And you did not one damn thing to help him. Instead, you took the side of the person who is treating him horribly every single time. You're an absolutely garbage father, and your son is going to dump you out of his life the minute he turns 18. My wife said was repeated several times. Is Opie even talking to his kid, or just listening to his wife? Since he is sleeping with his wife, I can answer that one for you. You're the a-hole. Your son is still a child and your wife is competing with him. First, she has no business parenting him. That's your job, not hers. Second, if he doesn't want her in his private space, that is his right. She has no right to invade it for cleaning or whatever else. Third, are you seriously trying to convince us that the bride had no say in wedding pictures? Fourth, you are a very bad parent for allowing all of this to happen without any reaction. Fifth, you guys need family therapy, and whenever your son accepts your wife or not, that is his business. The photographer asks for a list of photos you want taken with people and then you pick the ones you want. So saying she had nothing to do with it is garbage. Literally did this myself last night for my own upcoming wedding. Can confirm. The couple has full control over who gets their picture taken and when. If he doesn't want your wife going into his room and touching his things, why do you let her? Why didn't you make sure that your son was included in some pictures? Why didn't you intervene when he wasn't allowed to eat some of the food at the wedding? Why are you letting her parent your son when you know there's so much tension between them? Of course, he shouldn't have ruined the painting. Of course, he's an a-hole. But he's also a kid. You and your wife are, supposedly, the adults. It's unreasonable to expect a 16-year-old to de-escalate a situation that the two adults keep escalating. Everyone sucks here, but you in particular. I'm the bio mom, and I never went in my son's room without his knowledge or consent by that age. Laundry day? Just ask him to put the sheets in the laundry so I could wash them. If his clothes didn't make it to the laundry basket in time for washing, I taught him how to do his own. Stepmom needs to stay out of this young man's room. That is the a-hole. Now for the last story, am I the a-hole for suggesting he has absolutely nothing to offer me? 30 female and I've been with my fiancé 29 male for 4 years now. We both came from absolutely nothing. Both grew up in foster care. Both had essentially nothing growing up and lived in poverty. I saw this as an opportunity for growth and breaking the cycle. So I save up and work my way towards a better life. Whereas he immediately spends his money on material things that he didn't have the opportunity to possess as a child/teenager. He is super materialistic and I'm not like that. I like simplicity while he likes extraordinary. With that said, the material items he does currently have hold no value to me whatsoever. It's his enjoyment. Like a bunch of guitars, easily over 40, and recording equipment, and I don't play an instrument/have no use for them. Or he has a bunch of gaming PCs/computers/consoles or just electronics in general, and I'm not a gamer/electronics type of woman. I enjoy my books, paperback, old school style, and have more than I probably should. So, we are completely different people and I love that about us. It does make things exciting, though I simply don't understand his need for all of these things. When we started planning for our wedding roughly 2 months ago, it started getting really fidgety and kind of weird, so I just stopped talking about it. I figured it was him getting anxious about the whole thing because he was always the type who said he didn't want marriage. It's just a piece of paper. He knew I did want marriage, so he proposed. I didn't think he ever would and never pushed the subject. I was super taken aback by it because I never thought that would happen. So anyways, he gets weird. I stopped talking about the planning because I didn't want to push it and scare him off. But a few days later, he says he wants to talk and brings up me signing a prenup. Which that in itself didn't really bother me because, well, to be frank, I have much more than him, and it would safeguard me. But then I made a comment, not trying to be a prick I don't think, saying, I don't want to lose all my stuff if we ever divorce. This is what angered me, because, well, now you're insinuating that I'm that type of woman after everything. And knowing that I am a very simplistic person who has no desire for material things. So I get a little heated, nothing extreme, and say, what exactly do you have to offer me in the event of a divorce? Your guitars that I don't want? Your electronics that I have no use for? I don't want your things. He immediately deadpans me and says, I can't freaking believe you would make out like I have nothing to offer. The truth of the matter though is that I have much more to offer financially. I would be the one losing in the end. I have a business, I own my home, I have a hefty bank account, while he has barely $9,000 saved and jumps from job to job. Am I the a-hole for suggesting he has nothing to offer me? So the dude brings the subject up, insinuating you would try to take his stuff, then gets angry when you say he has nothing you want? You are not the a-hole. He absolutely is. And you should consider that a red flag and be on the lookout for more. Those red flags are included in the prenup. She should get the prenup to protect her assets. And at that point where he sees that he gets nothing, he'll probably try and talk her out of it. Prenup, prenup, prenup. Have your attorney in on the making of this document. You need to be well represented because from where I sit, you have the most to lose. And just a guess here, but when he sees your asset list, he will say, "Oh, prenup? We don't need no prenup, babe." Get the prenup, otherwise you're the a-hole to yourself. You might also consider couples premarital counseling and a sit down with a financial planner to help work out how you and he will handle shared financial responsibilities. Good luck. I think you're looking at this from the wrong angle. If you're the saver in the relationship, he will profit from you in a divorce. Get a prenup to protect yourself from his spending. Opie recognizes this. What Opie doesn't recognize is the fact that her fiancé really doesn't want to get married. That is the largest red flag out there. Yes, he never wanted to get married. He proposed out of nowhere and is now manufacturing a big argument that's well known to be a relationship killer. Sounds like he feels trapped and is gnawing off his own foot now. Opie, you need to rethink being in a relationship with someone who doesn't share the same goals/values as you. I don't mean about different hobbies, but you and your partner have vastly different ideas about money and marriage, and your communication needs work too. You're not the a-hole for getting offended by what he said, but you're taking the low road and you need to pull up fast. Get premarital counseling. You need to discuss all the issues you're not on the same page with your partner on instead of pretending it all worked out.